Hello everyone, welcome to Wallah English YouTube channel. I hope everyone is doing great. So before starting, everyone tell that I am fully audible and visible to you all. Then we'll begin. So good evening everyone. So till last class we have covered abstraction from precipitation. Some topics we have covered. Now we are going to move ahead. First, let us have a quick recap of what we have discussed. Then we'll move ahead. Okay. So basically we have covered in the last class how to reduce evaporation. Okay, I told you that reduction of evaporation is very important because water, as you all know, that it's important commodity. Good evening Sushil. So we have to make sure that it is not lost. Okay, so how we reduce it? We reduce it by reducing the surface area. If surface area is less, then obviously your evaporation will go down. Then we discussed about mechanical covers. Okay, as I have shown in this figure, mechanical covers will reduce the evaporation. Then we have then I have told you about the name of the chemicals. See, the name of these chemicals is very important. You have to remember them. Okay, I hope you have learned it. After this, we have discussed evapotranspiration. What is evapotranspiration? Evapotranspiration, see, if your field is fully covered with vegetation, okay, if your field is fully covered with crops or vegetation, then I will say that this evapotranspiration thing, that means evaporation plus transpiration thing, will indicate consumptive use which is responsible for the growth of the plant. Okay, consumptive use is the amount of water which helps in basically tissue building of your plants. Okay, so you can say that growth of the plant is dependent on evapotranspiration. Okay, but make sure that we have to ensure that this field is fully covered with vegetation. Okay, if it will be fully covered with vegetation, then obviously whatever water is going away, we are assuming that it is contributing to the growth of plant. Okay, that I told you. Then we discussed about potential evapotranspiration and actual evapotranspiration. Potential evapotranspiration is the maximum evapotranspiration which can happen, or you can say it is the optimum one, which can happen when your moisture requirement is sufficiently met. There is no, you can say, no deficiency of moisture. Sufficient moisture you have provided in the field. So at that time, whatever evapotranspiration will happen, that is potential. And also climatic conditions are responsible for it, such as temperature. Okay, like this, sunshine. Now actual evapotranspiration is the real evapotranspiration which occurs in real situations. You should understand that actual evapotranspiration will vary because moisture condition is not always the same. You need to understand, sometimes moisture is more, sometimes moisture is less. You need to understand this. So depending on that, we have actually evapotranspiration. Okay. Now tell me if I am audible. I think I am audible now. Tell me if the voice is clear. Okay, Karan. Yes. Okay, now am I audible? Then let's proceed. Actually, battery was drained off, so no issues. I have changed the battery. Now so we were discussing that potential evapotranspiration is determined by Penman equation and Blaine-Riedel equation. We also solved one example. This formula is 2.54 K summation pH TF upon 100. Okay, so this was the example with the help of which we have understood how to solve, or you can say how to evaluate potential evapotranspiration with the help of Blaney-Criddle equation. Okay, so I hope till here everything is clear to you. Now, after this we went on to solve some questions. Now today we are going to discuss about drought. Okay, what drought is exactly. So I hope you all know that what drought is. See, drought is deficiency of moisture. Okay, and drought is having a certain kind of classification that will go, but first we will let us have a quick overview so as to what drought is. So drought means whenever there is scarcity or deficiency of moisture, and it is also affecting humans. Okay, it is affecting, you can say, let us say it is affecting our crop growth, it is affecting, let us say, our drinking water needs. Okay, any kind of needs which are being affected due to scarcity of water, then I will say it is a kind of drought condition. Okay, how exactly drought is defined, what are the criteria according to Indian Meteorological Department, that we'll discuss. Okay, so what drought is, first we'll discuss this. What are the different types, that we'll discuss. Okay, and how it is affecting us and how we measure it, and what are the ways, what are the methods with the help of which we are able to tackle it, we are able to mitigate it. Okay, we have to reduce it down, yes or no. So that is the ultimate aim. So we'll discuss it one by one. I hope till here everything is clear. Now, so basically drought means, you all know that India receives certain kind of rainfall. Okay, you all know that India receives certain amount of rainfall, let us say 120 centimeter every year. Okay, try to understand that every year India receives certain amount of rainfall. Understood, sir? Now, if India is receiving certain amount of rainfall, and let us say in this particular year, let us say for year 2022, India has received more than this rainfall, let us say 130 centimeter. So obviously in this year there is no drought, because average rainfall is 120, and in this year the rainfall is more than the average value. So I will say that rainfall has happened, you can say, more than average. That's why no drought is here. Drought means deficiency. But if we will say, let us say if in 2022 100 centimeter rainfall has happened, so 100 centimeter is less than 120. So I will say that index of wetness, or simply you can say wetness or moisture in this year, you can say is less than that of average value. But it is not very less, it is not very less. You need to understand from 120 this value is not very far. So this year is also not you can say called as drought. Okay, drought means extreme deficiency. Drought means extreme deficiency, that even crops are failing. Okay, and simply you can say shortage of water is there. Okay, everyone is not able to use it, or you can simply say the demand is not getting fulfilled. That is the meaning of drought. But if this 120 gets converted into, let us say, 70, then I will say that in this year 2022 drought has happened. Why? Because 70 centimeter is a drastic change. Average is 120, and if it is happening 70, then obviously a drastic change, a drastic dip is there. That is drought. Okay, so I hope this thing is clear. So now let us write down the basic definitions. So listen very carefully. Three things are here. First is meteorological drought, second is hydrological drought, third is agricultural drought. What is the difference between these three? See, meteorological drought means simply climatologically, I told you that in India average rainfall is 120 centimeter, and if in any given year, let us say the value of rainfall is very less than this average value, then I will say that climatologically or meteorologically drought has occurred in this year. Yes or no? So I hope meteorological drought is clear to you. I will write here the definition, but basically meteorological drought is measured in every year. Okay, then we have hydrological drought. What is hydrological drought? Hydrological drought means that wherever we have water stored, okay, we store water in tanks, we store water in lakes, reservoirs. Okay, drought is you can say is so severe, or it is up to that extent that water level in all these areas, tanks, lakes, reservoirs, or whatever storage tanks you have, the level of water has dropped down drastically. Okay, we are seeing a severe decline, or you can say sharp decline in these water levels, then I will say that hydrological drought is there. Okay, so whenever the water which we have stored for our future needs, that is going down drastically, that means we need to refill it, but for refilling no water is available, then I will say it is hydrological drought. So whenever water levels are going down in any kind of water body, I will refer it to it as hydrological drought. Okay, you have to understand one thing, that hydrological drought does not occur when meteorological drought occurs. Okay, meteorological, let us say in some year meteorological drought is there, let us say drop value of rainfall has dropped down, but still we will be able to survive. Why? Because we still have, you can say, sufficient water stored in our lakes, reservoirs, here and there, rivers. We have sufficient amount of water which will not be affected in a single year. Yes or no? But unfortunately, let us assume that this meteorological drought, this drastic drop is continuing year after year. Okay, let us say in first year drought is there, in second year drought is also there, in third year that there is another drought, then obviously you will see that hydrological drought will also take place, because all the water will be used in this duration. So obviously crisis of water will be there, and all the water levels in every place, in every water body, every tank, every storage tank, every reservoir will go down drastically. So then hydrological drought will occur. So hydrological drought, you can say, is a consequence of meteorological drought. Yes or no? Meteorological droughts consequence is hydrological drought. Hydrological drought will happen when meteorological drought continues for a long time. Yes or no? Is this thing clear? Then the third is agricultural. Now when, you can say, when moisture levels are so low that agricultural crops are being affected. Okay, crops, you all know that farmer grow crops, and for their needs they require water. Okay, for the growth of, you can say, crops, everyone requires water, you all know this. But let us assume that in those fields, okay, where farmers are growing crops, they are unable to utilize moisture, they are unable to utilize the water, then I will say agricultural drought is there. So agricultural drought is basically related to your crops, and these two are general. Okay, these two are general, which will affect all the human needs. So I hope this thing is clear. Now let us write down the definition, with the help of which everything will be clear to you. So the very first one is meteorological drought. Wait a second, we'll write with yellow ink. Yes, so it is a situation in which, it is a situation in which, okay, so it is a situation in which there is decrease, there is more than 25% decrease. So this is the basic definition, in which there is more than 25% decrease in precipitation. So how much decrease? Everyone kindly comment. How much decrease? Everyone comment. How much decrease? In which there is more than 25% decrease in precipitation from the average value. Okay, from normal value over an area. So if, let us assume, I already told you example of 120. I hope this is clear to you. If 120 centimeter of rainfall is there, see, find 25% of this. So 25% of 120 will be 30 centimeter. Okay, so reduce 30 centimeter from here, it will be 90. So if rainfall in any particular year in a given area, if it is less than 90 centimeter, means that decrease is greater than 25%. Okay, when you have to drop this value, you can say more than 25%, in which there is more than 25% decrease, then obviously the value of rainfall should be less than 90 centimeter in that year. Then I will say drought is there. Okay, is this thing clear? Everyone kindly comment yes. I am unable to see your comments. Everyone kindly comment yes. Is this thing clear? That drop should be more than 25%. The value of precipitation should be less than 90 centimeters in general. Perfect. Now the second thing is hydrological drought. Now what is hydrological drought? See, hydrological drought means, see, if this meteorological drought will happen 1 year in a single year only, no problem. But if this meteorological drought will continue again and again Okay, next year also drought is there, another year, in further years drought is there, then you will see that water level will be hampered severely. Okay, so I will write, if meteorological drought, if meteorological drought, see these are the definitions which are given by IMD, given by Indian Meteorological Department. Okay, so if meteorological drought, if meteorological drought is prolonged, okay, prolonged means extended for years like that. Okay, so if meteorological drought is prolonged or extended, then you will see, then what I will observe, sir, I will observe that drastic depletion, drastic depletion, drastic means severe, depletion means reduction, reduction of surface water and groundwater will be there. Okay, all the water resources of your area will be, you can say, will dry up. Okay, it will reduce, of surface water and groundwater will reduce. Drastic depletion of surface water and groundwater will be there, and this is a condition of panic. Okay, this is a panic condition, because from where you will get drinking water, from where you will fulfill your electricity needs. Okay, you should understand that water is required for many purposes. Okay, let me tell you how many requirements are there. The very first thing is irrigation. Water is required for irrigation of crops. You must be, because crops require water and we provide water artificially to the crops, so that is irrigation only. Crops are, you need to understand that we eat food, so for that we have to grow crops, and for that water is required. Then drinking needs, the most important. Without drinking you cannot live for a single day. Okay, so drinking is important, irrigation is important. Then power needs. Okay, you must be aware of the fact that yes, electricity, power means electricity, the electricity which is produced in, you can say, thermal powers, there also water is required. Okay, you must be aware that water is converted into steam, and those steam are responsible for driving the turbines. Okay, when these turbines rotate, they produce electricity. That is a concept of generator. But you need to understand that power also, electricity production also requires what? Water. Important. So if water crisis is there, then how irrigation, drinking, and this power supply will be fulfilled? Other things are also there, but these three are the topmost priorities when it comes to water. Okay, so this is important. So hydrological drought will be, hydrological drought will affect, impact, or you can say will affect human life drastically. So it should not be the case, and we should, as an hydrological, you can say, as an hydrologist, we should have certain ways or some methods to mitigate these effects. Okay, how to mitigate this effect I will discuss later, no need to worry. But this is the responsibility of engineering. See, this is an engineering aspect, this is an engineering problem. So obviously whenever water shortage is there, then how to manage it, that we should know. Okay, now last drought is agricultural drought. So basically this drought occurs, this drought occurs when soil moisture, this drought occur when soil moisture, when soil moisture and rainfall, when soil moisture and rainfall are insignificant, insignificant for the growth of crops, are insignificant for the growth of crops. So this is your agricultural drought. Meteorological, hydrological, agricultural, three kinds of droughts are there, but the most important one is agricultural droughts, because it will affect the food production. So we have you can say denoted, or we represent the severity of this agricultural drought with an index. Okay, so in order to measure the severity, how you can say how bad this agricultural drought is, that is measured with the help of an index which is known as aridity index. Okay, we have an index here. This index basically denotes how tough is your agricultural drought. Is it severe, is it mild, or is it moderate, like that. Okay, so we need to understand what aridity index is. Aridity index is a scale on which your agricultural drought severeness is measured. Okay, see, the meaning of aridity is, the meaning of this term aridity is dryness. Okay, dryness. How dry soil is so that crops are unable to grow. Okay, so let me write down one point here that aridity means dryness. Aridity means dryness. And agricultural drought effect, or you can say, is classified on the basis of aridity index. Agricultural drought is classified on the basis of aridity index. Okay, so simple thing, what this index is, this we'll discuss. This index denotes, this index tells you about or signifies, this index signifies the severity of agricultural drought. Okay, is it moderate, is it mild, or is it very, very severe? It signifies the severity of agricultural drought. Okay, sir, this thing is very, very clear to me. Like aridity index important. If this aridity index, this dryness thing is more, if this is more, then obviously the drought is very, very severe. Okay, now what is the formula for aridity index? Aridity index is denoted by AI, aridity index. The formula is simple. See, remember this formula. This has been asked in examination, so it's very simple. Listen very carefully. Aridity index AET upon PET into 100. Upon PET into 100. So this is the formula which you have to remember. This is the formula for aridity index. Okay. So this is AI. This is your aridity index. I hope this is clear to you. Okay. Now, yes. So everything is clear till here. Now, what is aridity index exactly? See, we can understand this with the help of an example. Okay. So you need to understand. Let us assume two cases. Okay. Let us assume two cases. Two extreme cases. Let us assume two extreme cases. See, this actual evapotranspiration depends on how much moisture or how much water is present in the soil. Okay, sir, two things are there. Two extreme cases are there. Sir, either your soil can be dry or it should have sufficient moisture so that it is consuming maximum water. So that my crops are consuming maximum water. Either they can consume no water or they can consume maximum water. Yes or no? So, sir, I can say that if I'm discussing these two boundary condition, if I'm going to discuss the two boundary conditions, then obviously this actual evapotranspiration can be zero. Sir, if this actual evapotranspiration is zero, which means no water is there, no water, not even a single drop of water is there in the soil, and your soil is looking dry, so obviously crops will not be able to evapotranspirate. Okay, then the second extreme case is that it has so much of water, that actually it consumes water equal to potential evapotranspiration. Okay, so two extreme cases can be there, no water, full water. Now, if actual evapotranspiration is zero, we will put this value equal to 0. So then tell me how much, now this will be equal to 1. 1 into 100 is 100%. That means aridity index will be how much? Everyone tell me. If actual evapotranspiration is 0, then aridity index will be equal to how much? Everyone kindly comment. Then what will be the aridity index? Tell me. Yes, if actual evapotranspiration is 0, then in that case, then aridity index will be 100%. 100% dryness, 100% dryness, and no water, not even single drop. My plant is crying, sir. It is, or sir, it cannot cry because you need to understand that for crying also water requirement is there. Okay, they will not be able to cry also, because for that also they need water. They will not be able to cry only. So let me make one drop of water here. See, these plants are crying, they are sad. Okay, they are not getting a single drop of water. Okay, 100% dryness. Now second case, if actual evapotranspiration is equal to, you can say, optimum value or maximum value, no problem water is there, sufficient moisture is there, then obviously they will transpire at its best. And in this case, then tell me then what will be the aridity index? Tell me, if AT is equal to PT, see this is equal to PET, so PET minus PET is 0, 0 into 100 is 0, so obviously aridity index will equal to, tell me, it will be equal to, yes Manusha, very good, it will be equal to 0%, which means no dryness is there. Plants will be very, very happy. Okay, plants will be very, very happy because they are getting sufficient moisture and they are growing fully. Okay, no wilting, no kind of problem is there. So, and you need to understand this aridity index can vary from 0 to 100. Okay, if I am going to draw this here, you need to understand this actual evapotranspiration can vary from 0 to PET, and similarly this aridity index thing can go from, if aridity index is 0 then 100%, if actually evapotranspiration is 0 then aridity index 100%, and this will drop down to 0%. Okay, so it varies from 0 to PET, this varies from 100% to 0%. So this is the, you can say, similarity between these two. Now we will have to draw a table here. Okay, let me draw a table here. AI anomaly, and here I will write the severity class. Okay, I told you that on the basis of this aridity index, we will classify, so wait a second. Okay, now we'll write. So based on AI anomaly, see aridity index can vary. Okay, I told you it can vary from 0 to 100%. Now if aridity index is not very high, it is, you can say, somewhere near 0, or let us say from 0 to 25. Okay, if aridity is not much and it is, you can say, ranging from 0 to 25% only, then I will say, sir, no problem. Okay, little dryness is there, I will say mild arid. Arid means dry. Mild arid. Then if it is ranging from 26 to 50, then obviously aridity has increased. Then I will say, sir, moderate dryness is there, or you can say sufficient dryness is there in this case. This is moderate arid. But if it is greater than 50, then obviously your plant will start wilting. Okay, that is severe case. In this case I will write severe arid. Yes or no? Tell me. Remember, see, this table can be, any question can be framed from here in the examination. So I hope this thing is clear to you. Yes or no? So tell me, will you be able to remember this table? So this is the slide which is based on your aridity index. I hope this aridity index is very, very clear to you. Now just opposite to it, first tell me if this thing is clear, then I will move ahead. Now similar to this is index of wetness. One more index is there. Clear. Now we have to understand one more wetness. See, now we have to understand one more index, which is your index of wetness. Okay, so this is your aridity index. Now we have to understand index of wetness. Okay, let me write here. See, index of wetness will denote, can you guess what is index of wetness? See, that is aridity. Aridity index is related to agriculture only. See, remember, aridity index is related to agriculture only, this thing. But index of wetness is related to meteorological drought. Okay, index of wetness denotes or signifies how much is the rainfall. Okay, how much is the rainfall received by an area in a, you can say, certain year. Okay, so let me write the formula, then I will explain it to you. Index of wetness means rainfall in a year, in an area divided by average annual rainfall, of a country, average annual rainfall of that area or area, okay, into 100. So this is your this is your index of wetness. Now you need to understand, let us say India receives 120 centimeter rainfall, and in this year it has only received 90 centimeter rainfall. Average annual rainfall in India is 120 centimeter. This year it has received 90 centimeter. So it means how much is your index of wetness? 75%. Which means India in this year on an average has received only 75% of water. That means index of wetness is 75%. And can you tell me what is the deficiency here? Can you tell me if India has received 75% of average rainfall, then what is the deficiency here? What is the rainfall deficiency? How much deficiency of rainfall is there? Can you tell me? Can you tell me how much rainfall deficiency is here? Yes, 25%. Perfect. Yes, 25%. So if someone asks you like what is rainfall deficiency, you need to understand one thing, that index of wetness plus rainfall deficiency is equal to 100%. But yes, this formula is only valid when index of wetness is less than 100%. Okay. When index of wetness is less than 100%. Why I'm telling this? Because let us assume India has received 140 centimeter rainfall this year. Then obviously the index of wetness will be more than 100%. Okay, let us assume 120%. It will be more than 100%, which means that in this case rainfall deficiency will be, can you guess? Can you guess what will the rainfall deficiency here if India has received more than 100% rainfall? Now tell me. I've asked one question. See, when 75% rainfall was there, then obviously deficiency was 25%. 25% rainfall was missing. Now when India has received, let us say 120% of average rainfall, then what is the rainfall deficiency in this case? Yes, it is 0. Perfect. It is 0. Okay. We will not sum it up and equate it to 100. So this is simple. I hope this is clear to you. Yes or no? Perfect. So I will write here one thing, that when index of wetness is less than, then only this formula is applicable. Okay. So let me put it in bracket. Now, according to Indian Meteorological Department, as per Indian Meteorological Department, drought is classified into 3 types. Okay. Drought is classified as see, 3 kind of droughts are there basically. In the first column, I will write decrease in precipitation. In the second column, I will obviously write what sort of classification is this. Okay. What sort of classification is this? So let me okay, so decrease in precipitation, if it is less than 25%, okay, if decrease in precipitation is less than 25%, that means not a severe effect. See, decrease in precipitation is there, but not less than 25%. Okay, it is less than 25% decrease. So obviously I will say, in this case, I will say no drought is there. In this case, I will say no drought. Okay, drought happens when severe drop is there. Okay, drastic change is there, drastic decline is there, then I will say drought is there. But when decrease in precipitation is less than 25%, then obviously no drought is here. Now, if decrease is from 26 to 50%, okay, in this case I will say moderate drought. In this case I will say moderate drought. Moderate drought. If it is more than 50%, see, this is severe thing. Decrease in precipitation in a given year is more than 50%. Generally what happens in a year, average, you can say average annual rainfall, half of that or even less than half value has been received in this year. So obviously it is a severe kind of drought. I will write I will write severe drought here. Okay, severe drought. Severe drought. Okay, I hope this thing is clear. So remember this table, this is important. Now you need to understand that in India, certain parts receive too much of rainfall, certain part receives very less rainfall. So based on that, okay, you need to understand that probability of occurrence of drought is you can say different or variable at every place. Okay, it varies location to location. You need to understand that parts of Rajasthan and Gujarat will experience more drought, okay, because they receive less rainfall. And similarly, northeastern states or coastal areas will receive more rainfall, so it varies. So obviously this percentage or your probability of occurrence of drought will vary from location to location. So based on that, based on the probability that whether drought will occur here or not, based on that we have classified areas into two parts. Okay, based on that, wait a second, let me write. See, this is a little bit theoretical, but no worries. So based on that, place is not left. Okay, don't worry. So we will write here only. So if drought occurs in an area, should we write it on the next slide? Wait a second. Empty slide is not there. Or should I write it here? Okay, let me write one point here and next point in the next slide. Now, if drought occurs in an area, wait a second, let me reduce the size of ink so that we have more space. So, if drought occurs in an area, if drought occurs in an area with probability 20% to 40%, with probability 20% to 40%, okay, obviously you will try not to live in that area, obviously, because 20% to 40% drought probability is there. So obviously these areas are not favorable for living. Okay, so probability is 20% to 40%. Then that area is classified as drought prone area, is classified as, let me write it with another thing, drought prone area. Okay, drought prone area. So this is drought prone area. But if drought occurs in an area with probability greater than 40%, with probability greater than 40%, okay, with probability greater than 40%, then that area is classified as, chronically drought prone area. Chronic, severe, you can say severe problem is there. Chronically drought prone area. Okay, so with this we have covered the entire theory of droughts. Okay, now we'll move ahead to another losses. So I hope this thing is clear. So these are two lines which you can remember. Okay, you will see some theoretical questions from here. So this is the entire concept of drought. So basically, sir, you have told me about the definition of, okay, droughts and its types. What is aridity index? It is related to agricultural drought. Okay, if agriculture is affected, then I will refer aridity index. Okay, index of wetness, sir, tell me that how much rainfall is being received by India. If better rainfall is there, then obviously this index will be touching around 100%. Okay, see, basically favorable condition is that India receives sufficient rainfall so that crops are growing in a proper way. Okay, obviously then dependency on irrigation will be less. Yes or no? Now answer this question. I think we have already covered this question. Okay, yes, this questions we have already discussed. The answer to this one was 0 to 1. Okay, this I have already explained to you. And we have also covered this. Now we'll move to interception. See, till now we have covered evaporation. Till now we have covered evaporation and transpiration thing. Okay, now we'll discuss another set of losses. Okay, now we'll move ahead and we'll discuss another set of losses. The one is interception and another one is depression and storage. So this is very simple. Okay, very simple. You can say losses are these. Then we'll discuss after this the major loss infiltration, which we'll discuss. From there you will see many questions have been framed in the examination. Okay, now what is interception? Okay, now what interception is, that we have to understand. Wait a second. Yes. Okay, now interception. So basically interception is, so can anyone tell me what interception is? I have already discussed this interception thing in your water cycle phase. Okay, what is interception? I have already told you. See, the part of rainfall which is intercepted. Okay, let us assume rainfall is happening. The part of rainfall which is happened or obstructed by, you need to understand, buildings, trees, and that water is unable to reach the ground and infiltrate there. Yes or no? So that is interception. That is interception. The water which is unable to reach the ground. Okay, so if you have to write the definition. So I will say it is the portion or part of total precipitation. It is the part or portion of total precipitation which while falling on earth's surface, which while falling on the surface of the earth, which while falling on the surface of the earth, which while falling on the surface of the earth is intercepted by surface of buildings, surfaces of buildings, Okay, see, water can be obstructed by buildings, roads, vegetation, crops, but you need to understand that water should not go into the ground. Okay, see, water deposit on road, obviously it will remain there and subsequently it will evaporate. Let us assume some water has deposited on the, some kind of ponding has happened on your buildings. Okay, that water will subsequently evaporate, but that water will not go to the ground. This you have to understand. So I will write that water is intercepted by surface of buildings. Okay, roads, vegetations. Okay, surface of buildings, roads, vegetation cover, or any other kind of obstruction that you can think of. Okay, that is also there, etc. Okay, etc. And that water which has deposited on roads, vegetations, on buildings, that will subsequently evaporate. Okay, so it's a kind of evaporation loss only. And subsequently evaporates. Okay, so this is it. See, the three components, the three main components of interception are the first one is interception loss. The second one is through fall. And the third one is stem flow. Okay, so interception loss is, listen very carefully here. So let us imagine we have a tree. Okay, let us imagine we have a huge tree, and let us say rainfall is happening. Okay, let us say rainfall is happening. So you need to understand this rain water will be intercepted by leaves of your tree, and obviously this water will be unable to reach the ground. So that is your interception loss, the very first one. Okay, we need to understand how this these three components are there. Okay, three main components of interception is there. The first one is rainfall has intercepted by the leaves of your rainfall. Now you need to understand. Obviously some water will be falling from one leaf to another leaf. Okay, water goes down from one leaf to another leaf, from another leaf to next leaf. It will drop one level by level, and it will evaporate. So that is your through fall. Through fall means that water will fall through, the water will fall through that obstruction. It will fall through that obstruction. But yes, if it is not reaching the ground, then it is interception. But if it reaches the ground, then it is not interception, because once it reaches the ground, then it will infiltrate. So we are not interested in that. We are only interested in that portion of water, that portion of total precipitation which is not reaching the ground. See, this drop of water should not fall on ground. Yes or no? Perfect. Yes, dear. Yes. Tell me, what is your doubt? So this is your through fall. Now, what is stem flow? What is stem flow? Stem flow means obviously some part of water after rainfall, you must have seen some part of water trickles down. Some part of water trickles down on this stem. Okay, on this stem, some part of water trickles down, and whatever water trickles down and evaporates subsequently is stem flow. But assume that some part of water after trickling has reached groundwater. Sorry, not groundwater, ground. Okay, let us assume that some water after trickling has reached ground. Then that will not be interception. Yes or no? It will not be interception. Why? Because we are interested only in that portion of rainfall which is not reaching the ground. Yes or no? Clear? I hope this thing is clear. Okay. So three main components are there, but ultimately the objective is that water should not reach ground and it is simply intercepted. Okay. So these are basically three components. Not so important, but remember what interception is exactly. Now we'll discuss the second loss which is written on this slide is your depression storage. I hope you all know what depression is. Okay, I hope you all know what depression is. Basically, depression storage is the volume of water which is collected in the depressions after rainfall. Okay, listen very carefully here. Let us assume we have a depression. Okay, let us say we have a depression here. Okay, assume rain is happening. Okay, assume rain is happening. So when rain is happening here, okay, assume when rain is happening, so obviously this rain will fill these depressions. Okay, first what happens? First rain has to fill these depressions. After this, when this will be completely filled, then you will see that water will overflow and then runoff will happen. Yes or no? See, I have already told you, after precipitation, losses will take place. Okay, sir, in the starting of this losses chapter, sir, you have told me that the very first loss is evaporation, then transpiration, sir, then interception, and your IT, then your depression storage is there. Okay, then your infiltration is there. Sir, why depression storage? Because some part of water has to be filled in these depressions. Okay, and after these losses, after these depressions have filled completely, then your runoff will take place. Whatever water will be remaining, okay, then runoff will take place. Yes or no? But you need to understand one thing. Tell me, sir. One thing is that out of total rainfall, the volume of water which has been collected in these depressions will be very, very small. If a severe kind of rainfall is there, or let us say a major storm is there, okay, which is capable of producing a flood, then obviously in that case, sir, I will see that the volume of water which is stored in these depressions is quite negligible. Yes or no? Yes or no? Tell me. Perfect. So what I am trying to explain it here, that this depression storage is the volume of water that is stored there, and secondly, sir, it is almost negligible. You can remove this loss. So let me write here the basic definition of this depression storage. So depression storage is when rainfall reaches ground, or when precipitation when precipitation reaches ground, when precipitation reaches ground, when precipitation reaches ground, it must first fill up, all the depressions. It must first fill up, it must first fill up, it must first fill up all the depressions, it must first fill up all the depressions before it can flow, over the ground. Okay, I told you that water before flowing has to fill all the depressions. Okay, and the volume of water which is stored, the volume of water which is stored or trapped, the volume of water which is trapped, the volume of water which is trapped in these depressions, the volume of water which is trapped in these depressions is known as depression storage. Simple. So just remember that before flowing over the ground, water has to be filled in all these depressions. This is the simple logic which you have to remember from here. Okay, nothing else, not so important. Okay, this is not a very important loss. Okay, so let me draw this diagram here. So water has to fill this first and then it has to overflow. Okay, so this you have to remember. Now, so I hope interception and depression storage is clear to you. So we have covered all the losses. Now only single loss is left, which is your infiltration, the last one, the most important one. But okay, infiltration is now left only, but it is the most important one, so we'll discuss it. Okay, so before starting, everyone kindly tell me what infiltration is. Can you tell me? We have to start infiltration now. Okay, and today infiltration topic we have to discuss basically. So infiltration factors, how we measure it, okay, how it will be affected, what infiltration is, tell me. Everyone kindly comment what infiltration is, then we'll start infiltration. Yes. Tell me what is infiltration. See, after rainfall, some portion of rainfall or some part of rainfall is seeping the ground. Okay, is seeping into the ground, or the water which is going through the top soil, the water which is penetrating the top soil of surface, that is infiltration. Okay, flow of water under first layer of soil. Yes, not exactly the first layer, or you have to remember the word top soil. Okay, from the top layer. Okay, so let me write down the definition here. Infiltration is basically, can you guess on what factor it depends? Can you guess? Okay, so what is infiltration? Infiltration is part of precipitation, part of rainfall or precipitation that moves. It is part of precipitation or simply rainfall that moves downward, see, this is important part. Okay, infiltration is very, very important. Okay, so please stay focused because questions will be framed from here only. Okay, in this entire chapter only infiltration is important. That moves downwards through the top surface of earth, very, very important, and replenishes and recharges or replenishes soil moisture. Okay, so soil moisture is refilled with this rainfall, and also you need to understand some part of infiltrated water will go and join the groundwater itself. Okay, so groundwater recharge also happens because of the infiltration. It is important. Okay, and recharges groundwater. Understood, sir? Clearly understood. Now I have one question. Now I have one question. See, I have told you the equation. I have told you about the equation P minus losses equal to runoff. You all know this equation. This is the simplified version of a water budget equation. I hope you all remember this equation. Very, very important. Okay, this is your simplified version of water budget equation. Now we have studied in this chapter 5 kind of losses. Okay, let me write here. We have studied basically 5 kind of losses. I have told you about 5 kind of losses. The first is evaporation. I will write here, don't worry. Evaporation, then transpiration. Okay, then your interception. We have discussed 5 losses. I will write all these here, no problem. So we have evaporation first. Okay, then we have transpiration. Can you name them? So one question is there, 5 losses, sir, you have mentioned. You are going to write it again. You have to guess. The third one is interception. Then we have depression storage. Depression storage will be abbreviated as DS. Okay, DS. Let me complete it a little bit. Then we have infiltration, the last one. Can you guess which is the major loss, or which can be neglected, which cannot be neglected? Interception, then we have depression. So you need to understand one thing. Okay, one concept is there which you have to understand. Precipitation. Okay, great. So interception is there, depression storage. These are all losses. These are all different kind of losses. So one concept is there. We have to consider 2 kinds of rainfall. Sometimes we have very less rainfall, very small rainfall. Okay, which happens only for 10 to 15 minutes. 10 to 15. Okay, very small kind of rainfall which will immediately stop. And some kind of rainfall is sometimes you will see that rainfall even continues for 2 days. Then flood happens. Okay, so one concept is here. You need to understand one thing. Okay, this is an important concept, so I will explain it. Let us assume, sir, a very small kind of rainfall, or you can say very small magnitude of rainfall is there. Okay, small magnitude rainfall. So whenever very small kind of rainfall is there, then what you will see, that all the water will evaporate, or all the water, see, a small rainfall means all the water will go into the ground. Okay, let us assume we have this ground, some water has fallen. So obviously some water will go into the ground, some water will evaporate. Transpiration losses will be less. Okay, interception, most of the water would have been intercepted. Okay, because a small magnitude of rainfall is there, so all the water will be intercepted by the buildings, roads, vegetation, like that. Okay, depression, some water must have been filled in the depressions, but water is so low that you will not be able to see runoff. Okay, you need to understand, runoff will not be there. Okay, imagine, you must have seen this. Imagine whenever a small kind of rainfall is there, the surface only gets wet. Okay, the surface just gets wet, and you will see that runoff, proper flow of water is not there. When we have a smaller kind of rainfalls, or intensity of rainfall is small, then obviously you will not witness runoff. Yes or no? Yes or no? Tell me. You will not witness runoff. Is this thing clear? But imagine we have a continuous rainfall. Okay, let us say we have a moderate kind of rainfall or heavy kind of rainfall which is continuing for a long time, or heavy rainfall is there. Then what I will observe? Then I will observe, sir, after all these losses, see, now we'll continue large intensity of rainfall. Then okay, then what will happen, sir? Initially, sir, all the water will go into the ground. Some water will be intercepted, some water will be filled in these depressions. Okay, all the things will happen, but even then also rainfall is not stopping. Sir, even then rainfall is not stopping. So after all these losses are taking place, evaporation, transpiration, interception, depression, I will see that now if rainfall continues, I will see runoff happens. Yes or no? Are you with me? Now I will see that after long times, let us say after 1 hour or 2 hours, I will see that only 2 things will happen. Only 2 phenomena will be taking place. Can you guess, after prolonged duration of rainfall, what 2 phenomenon will continue here? Can you guess? I'm asking you a question. Tell me the answer. After a prolonged period of rainfall for a certain duration, heavy rainfall is there, what 2 phenomena will be continuing here? Can you guess? Yes. Perfect. Runoff and infiltration. Perfect answer. We will see that after a certain period of time, some water will be going continuously into the ground and some water will be you can say you will see some water in the form of runoff. So runoff will be there and infiltration will be there. Runoff will be there and infiltration will be there. So after some time only these two things will take place. And remaining, and if this rainfall continues for a very long time, if this rainfall continues for a very long time, then you will see that runoff will be very, very high in quantity and infiltration will also be very, very high. You will say that, or you will see that in that area groundwater will completely get recharged, soil moisture will replenish all its moisture, and in that area you will see that infiltration and runoff is very, very high. And in that respect, in comparison to its high volume, you will see that evaporation, transpiration, interception, depression, storages are nothing. Okay, these volumes, the volumes of evaporation, transpiration, interception, the volumes of these losses will be almost negligible. Okay, because try to understand, let us say 1000 meter cube runoff, 500 meter cube of infiltration is there, and if this is 0.01 meter cube water, see 0.01 meter cube is very, very small, but still it's huge. Okay, see this much amount of water can be filled in one depression. Okay, so this is almost negligible. Okay, this is almost negligible because water, you need to understand that rainfall is continuing for a long time here. So we need to understand that whenever heavy rainfall is there, after a certain period of time, only these two phenomena are happening. So I can say, sir, that evaporation, transpiration, interception, depression, storage, all these losses can be equated to almost equal to zero, or they can be considered negligible in front of infiltration. So infiltration will be a major loss here. This will be a major loss here, and other losses will be minor loss. But the condition is that rainfall has to be heavy, which should have a ability to produce a flood, or it should be capable of producing a flood. So let me write one point here. Let me write here one point. Infiltration, runoff, and yes, infiltration, percolation, runoff, all these things will be happening. Great answer. Okay, now, so let me write down one point here. During a major storm, why I'm writing a major? See, we are not interested in minor storm, because in minor storm you will see no runoff is there. All the water is lost. In minor rainfall, minor storm, all the water will be lost. No runoff. Yes or no? Runoff only takes place after a major storm. So I am writing a word major. So you need to focus on this word major. See, major storm only causes runoff. Yes or no? So I will write during a major storm, which is capable of, during a major storm, which is capable of producing, flood, in such case, all the losses, or you can say minor, see these four are minor losses. All the minor losses are negligible. Let me write in bracket. We are referring here to evaporation, transpiration, interception, and depression storage. Okay, I have abbreviated each and every term here. So all the minor losses are considered negligible. And in that case only infiltration will be taking place. We are assuming that are considered negligible. Okay, those are very, very small, you can say. Those are small. Those are very small as compared to infiltration, which means infiltration is the most dominant one. Okay, which means infiltration here is the most dominant one. Yes or no? So I hope this thing is clear. So this means I will write the simplified equation now. In place of these losses, I will write only infiltration. Yes or no? Because only infiltration is important. That is having the major volume. So I will write infiltration only. Yes or no? Tell me. Sushil is asking one doubt here. volume of precipitation out of that maximum evaporates, but in loss filtration is measure is how, okay. Okay, dear. Sushil, you are right. See, that is, yes, you are absolutely correct. See, out of that 4000 BCM, obviously 215C, you have asked a very good question. See, in India, 4000 BCM rainfall is there, around 2000, 1850 remains, and 2150 goes away. Okay. See, this happens basically because of, see, but this is happening in entire year. We are considering a very long duration. Okay. You need to understand is time duration is different. We have to understand one thing, that in water budget equation, okay, we multiply, if we want to, we are writing this volume here. This volume is multiplied, how this volume is obtained? By multiplying discharge into time. We are not considering entire year here. Okay, we are not considering entire year here. We are interested in how much duration, only the rainfall duration. Let us say rainfall has happened only for 1 day. Let us say if rainfall has happened only for 5 days, 1 day, 6 hours, 2 hours, 3 hours. So in 2 hour or 3 hour time, what you will see, observe, Sushil, listen very carefully. In 2 or 3 hour time, you will observe that all the water will either infiltrate or run off. Obviously, after rainfall, what will happen? You should appreciate the fact, Sushil, that 50% of the rainfall which happens in entire year is concentrated only to 15 days. 15 days receive 50% of the entire Indian rainfall. Yes or no? So we are not talking of monsoon season. Let us assume in monsoon season all the water has fallen. Let us assume in 1 month all this 4000 BCM water has fallen. But in the remaining 11 months, what you will observe, that this 2150 water will get lost. Yes or no? So if we are considering entire year, then obviously all the water which has been received during the monsoon season will be gradually and steadily, okay, will be lost. Yes or no? Yes or no, Sushil? Tell me. I hope this thing is clear to you. Gradually, all this water which is received in the monsoon time, gradually it gets lost, and only this much water is being utilized by us, which we can tap. I have already explained to you. But sir, if we talk of smaller durations, only 2 to 3 hours, obviously in those 2 to 3 hours, or specifically in the monsoon season, you will observe only two things are happening. In monsoon season, evaporation, transpiration, and all these things are very less, and all the water will go into the ground, or you will see in the form of runoff. Monsoon season, you must have observed that whatever river you have in your city, you will see the level of those rivers will increase. Yes or no, in the monsoon season? But in entire year, you will see that the level of water drops again. So if we talk of entire year, see, these datas are for entire year. But if we are restricted to only monsoon season, only for rainfall duration, 2 hours, 3 hours, like that, in that case, only infiltration is the major loss. I hope this thing is clear to you now. Okay, here we have considered very small duration. So in examination, when questions are asking us to evaluate infiltration, let us say for 4 hours, then obviously we are not going to tell the data of entire year. Yes or no? So I hope this thing is clear. The answer to your query is time duration. Time duration. This evaporation basically happens throughout the year. Okay. Now, one more thing. We are interested in the factors. So now this equation will be reduced to, I will write the equation here. What I was telling here is, yes, precipitation minus losses are now infiltration only for smaller durations. And we are considering duration of rainfall only. Okay. The duration of rainfall will be considered as, you can say, final year, and in that duration only you will observe that the major loss is infiltration only. Okay, in that duration major loss is infiltration only. I hope this thing is clear now. Okay, so instead of losses I have written infiltration here. Okay, perfect. See, these losses will change obviously when you will change the duration. Okay, with duration, see, if you consider even longer duration, 5 years or 4 years, like that, then delta G becomes 0, delta S becomes 0. Okay, so based on the assumptions, changing the durations, on changing the catchment area, you will see that this equation will change. But here we are considering very small duration. Now we have to discuss the factors that affect infiltration. Okay, we have to discuss the factors which affect infiltration. See, firstly we are interested in the characteristics of soil, then condition of soil surface. Obviously all these things will affect your what infiltration. So let us discuss one by one. Let us focus on the characteristic of soil first. So obviously, tell me, I have a question for you. Let us say we have one soil which is completely dry and one soil which is moist. Okay, let us assume we have a dry soil and let us say we have a moist soil or wet soil, we can say. Okay, tell me which will witness more infiltration, which will experience more infiltration. Can you guess? Simple, it's very simple. Can you guess which will experience more infiltration? Obviously the soil which is dry, will experience more infiltration. Yes or no? Perfect, perfect, great. You are guessing it absolutely correct. Okay, this is the first case. Or they are saying condition of soil surface. Now you need to understand one thing. Let us say we have a soil. Obviously condition of soil surface, what is the nature of the soil, how is the texture there. Okay, perfect. Now tell me, if we have a coarse soil and if we have a fine soil, try to compare these two soils. Let us assume we have a coarse soil. Coarse soil means the particles of soil are bigger and fine soil means the particle size is smaller. Can you guess which will witness or which will experience more infiltration? Tell me everyone. See, these are very simple factors. Okay, these are very simple factors. So obviously you can say coarse soil, yes, because coarse soil have bigger voids, so obviously water will infiltrate quickly. It is more permeable. Ability to permit water is more in that coarse soil. Perfect. Now the next question is vegetation cover. Let us assume one thing. Here we have, let us say we have two areas. Okay, let us say we have two areas. One is fully covered by vegetation. Okay, trees are there, shrubs are there, and let us say crops are also there. And one area is completely plain or barren, you can say desert kind of area. Okay, so imagine we have a barren land and we have a area which is completely covered by forest. So tell me which will experience, let me write here forest area and let me write barren land here. So tell me which will experience more infiltration. Let me see what answer you give. Sushil is saying area with this plants will experience more infiltration. Everyone else also tell me where you will experience more infiltration. Where you will experience more infiltration. Barren lands have high runoff. Great. Kiran and Manjusha are thinking that barren land will experience more infiltration, but you are wrong here. Okay, so Sushil is right. Listen very carefully. Two important concepts are here. Okay, you need to understand those two concepts. First is you need to understand when rainfall happens. Okay, see, when rainfall happens, because of the see, rainfall, the raindrop is falling from a very heavy very high height. Okay, it is coming from a huge height and it will give a huge impact on the ground. So what will happen, you will see that because of this impact, this soil will get compacted. Yes or no? Soil compaction will be there, soil will get impacted, and because of this voids will get smaller. Yes or no? Because of compaction effect, because of the raindrop impact, you will see soil gets compacted, and because of this compaction you will see that voids decrease. But here you will see that soil is not getting impacted. Why? Because this impact will be encountered or witnessed by trees or plants or your vegetation only. Okay, you will see that these crops are witnessing all the impact and soil is not getting compacted. So obviously voids in this case will be more. Voids in this case will be not more, will be bigger. Voids will be bigger because they are not getting closed, they are not getting hammered up. Yes or no? First thing. Second thing, this is the first point. So now because of this, sir, because of this, infiltration should be more in forest area because voids are bigger. Okay, voids are bigger, so water can flow easily inside. Yes or no? This is the first factor. I hope this is clear to you, not so tough. Clear? Now the second thing is, whenever After rainfall we have water. After rainfall water tries to run off. Okay, water seeks its slope and it goes from higher level to lower level. You know this, water flows from higher level to lower level. Even in your rooms you will see that water flows from one part to another part if little slope is also there. Gentle on, even on gentle slopes water flows easily. Okay, so you need to understand here that in these areas water will try to run off. After rainfall water start to run off, but because of these trees and vegetations, runoff will decrease. Why? Because this will block the flow of water. Okay, all these trees and shrubs and all these vegetation will retard or slow down. It will retard or slow down runoff, so water has to stay longer there. Okay, as soon as water start moving, it will again get obstructed by some tree. So water has to, you can say water is getting obstructed by the roots of the tree, by the trees itself. So because of this retardation, process, water has to stay there. And when it will stay here, obviously with passage of time it will go into the ground. Yes or no? So, and second thing here is that on barren land uh, no obstruction is there, water will run off. And also one problem is there, that when this water will run off, it will take away the topsoil with it. The topsoil is very very fertile, you have to understand this thing. Okay, all the nutrients which are important for the plant growth or crop growth is basically concentrated in the topsoil only, and this topsoil will be lost in the runoff. When water will run off, it will carry away the topsoil with it. This is known as soil erosion, a great phenomena. You can say this is very unfortunate to know that 16, okay, we'll let us not focus on the data, but you should understand the logic here, that in the last 100 years the nutritional capacity of the soils has decreased down by approximately 10 times. Okay, let us imagine vegetable X vegetable is there in 1900, and in 2023 we are that same kind of vegetable which is growing in the same area. But after 100 years of time, you can see that nutritional value has gone down by 10 times, which means if you were eating an orange in that 1900s, and now you have to eat 10 oranges, similar kind of 10 oranges you have to eat to get the same nutrition value. Why? Because of this soil erosion thing. Okay, because you need to understand, because of this development thing, urbanization thing, the nutritional capacity of soil is going drastically down. Okay, it's a high time we have to do something. Okay, but obviously it will require a huge amount of effort, but still time is there, so that we can control it. Otherwise things will go out of control and this soil will be completely eroded, and then entire planet will be converted into desert. You will see that no crop will grow. And see, then you know what will happen, then an era will start where cannibalism will take place, where we'll eat animals. Okay, obviously no other option will be there, but okay, let's not go there. But yes, soil erosion is a big problem. I have seen many videos on it, so that's why I'm telling you. So what is the, yes, here we have no forest. Okay, if see forest and trees are not there, it's a huge problem because of deforestation. You all know that huge pressure on land is there, so obviously what we are doing, we are cutting trees, and because of that what is happening, sir, because of that you can see soil erosion is there. Okay, see the function of this soil, this trees are, it holds moisture also, and it holds soil also. It grips soil in such a way that soil is not getting runoff. Okay, soil remains there, and whatever water flows from here ultimately goes into the ground. So groundwater is also recharged because of this water. Yes or no? You will see, you need to understand one thing, that around rivers we should have plants. Okay, we should have trees, so that river holds a sufficient amount of moisture, okay, or water. Otherwise what will happen, the rivers will dry up. Yes or no? So these plants are very very important. Vermicompost is the natural material by which soil nutrient is recovered. If yes, you are right, you are absolutely correct. But you need to understand that the nutritional capacity of today's soil is very very low as compared to the past. Okay, because of this development thing and urbanization practices and all the anthropogenic activities which is being performed by humans. Because of that Okay, now we'll not discuss that. Yes, so basically we have understood, sir, that these forests, wherever forest on trees, all these things are there, their infiltration will be more. Okay, sir, infiltration will be more and runoff will be less. But where runoff will be less, sir, but where we have no forest, where we have no plants or crops, imagine roads are there. Imagine in cities, you know, in cities what happen, in cities, in developed areas, what happen, soon after rainfall, you will see all the drains will be completely filled up with water, and they will soon drain out all the water into the major rivers. All the water is lost in the form of runoff. No water goes into the ground. In cities, this is a big problem. You know why in cities groundwater is going down drastically? I have seen the data of water resource department of my state, sir. Here I have seen that groundwater is drastically depleting in some areas of the state in which I am living. It is in critical levels. Why? Because we are consuming it. We are consuming the groundwater. First thing, demand is very high because of the population, because all the people are living, all the people want to live in city areas. Secondly, groundwater is not getting recharged. After rainfall should remain on the ground so that water can go inside, but it is not happening. Why? Because we have concreted the entire land, we have made houses, roads, all these things are there, so obviously water is unable to penetrate, water is not able to go into the ground. Okay, this is a huge problem in cities. Okay, we'll not focus on too much problems today. Now let us come back to the topic. But in rural areas, what happened? In rural areas, forests are there, plants are there, crops are there, so infiltration is there. So groundwater is good in rural areas where development is less. Okay, so okay, sir, we were discussing about vegetation cover. We were discussing about vegetation cover. So if we talk of vegetation cover, sir, if we talk of vegetation cover, okay, sir, if we talk of vegetation cover, the more the vegetation cover, the higher is the infiltration. Okay, sir, simply you are saying that vegetation cover, if vegetation cover increases, then it means infiltration also increases. Okay, then it means infiltration also increases. Why, sir? Why? We have to understand these 2 points. The very first point is, okay, vegetation cover retards, let me write down this point quickly. Vegetation cover retards runoff. It slows down water. Okay, retards surface flow, retards surface flow or surface runoff. Okay, retards surface flows and hence gives more time, and hence gives more time for water to infiltrate, and hence gives more time for water to infiltrate or to enter the soil, secondly, because of this vegetation cover, shielding of soil surface happens, so no compaction is there. Okay, let me write here, shielding of okay, shielding of soil surface from direct impact of raindrops is there, thereby reducing compaction. Compaction is not there, thereby reducing compaction. Hence bigger voids are there. Hence bigger voids, which in turn promotes infiltration. So these are the 2 important points with the help of which you can understand what is the effect of vegetation cover on infiltration. I hope these 2 points are very clear to you. This I have explained to you and now I have written here. Now the fourth one is characteristics of infiltrating water. Okay, see, this is very simple. Tell me, if we have a thick water and if we have a thin water, if we consider viscosity, we have 2 kinds of viscosity here. let us assume we have low viscosity water. Let us assume we have low viscosity water, and let us say we have high viscosity water. So can you guess? Can you guess here which will be having more infiltration? Which will have more infiltration? See, this low viscosity water will be thin. Yes or no? Yes. When water is having less viscosity, obviously it will be thin, and obviously it will infiltrate at a faster pace. Okay. Low viscosity water infiltrates at a higher pace. So low viscosity water is greater as compared to your high viscosity. Viscosity water is thick, so obviously it will not be able to go down. Okay, perfect, simple. Now we have to discuss the last point. Last point is rainfall characteristics. See, this is the most important one, but before starting it, I have to make sure that you understand what is infiltration capacity. Okay, before moving to this topic, we have to discuss infiltration capacity now. So what is infiltration capacity? You need to understand one term, infiltration capacity. Very important. Infiltration capacity. See, infiltration capacity is denoted by FT. Infiltration capacity is denoted by FT. What is the meaning of FT? FT means the maximum rate at which your soil can absorb moisture. Let us say in 1 hour, your soil is able to absorb 5 centimeter water. So this is what? This is infiltration capacity. Okay. This is infiltration capacity. 5 centimeter depth of water is being absorbed by my ground in every hour. Okay. So if I have to write the definition is the maximum rate at which okay, at which rainwater the maximum rate at which rainwater can be absorbed by the ground or by the soil in given condition is infiltration capacity. Understood, sir, clearly? Now you need to understand two things. Okay, see how rainfall characteristic is affecting infiltration. See, rainfall can be more or it can be less. Two conditions are there. Okay, let us consider both the cases here. You need to understand here. So let us consider two cases. The very first case is that let us assume intensity of rainfall. I stands for intensity of rainfall, obviously in centimeter per hour. Okay, let us assume it is more than infiltration capacity. So let us take an example. Let us say, sir, 8 centimeter per hour rainfall is there and water can absorb only 5 centimeter per hour. Okay, so obviously out of this 8, 5 will go into the ground. What will happen to the remaining 3? Tell me. Sir, equation is that out of total 8, 5 is going into the ground. How much will be the runoff? 3. Remaining 3 will, yes, tell me. Remaining 3 will go in the form of runoff. Yes or no? Sir, remaining 3 will go in the form of runoff. This means that when intensity of rainfall is more, this will be also in centimeter per hour. So this means, sir, whenever intensity of rainfall is more, in that case, actual rate of infiltration, water which is going into the ground is equal to FT. Actual rate of infiltration is equal to infiltration capacity. Whatever maximum water can go into the ground is going at that time, because rainfall is very, very high. Rainfall is very, very high. Yes or no? So obviously we need to understand in this case runoff will be I minus 8 minus 5, and this is per hour. You have to multiply this by time so that you get total runoff. Let us take an example here. 8 centimeter per hour is your intensity. 5 centimeter per hour is the water which is going to the ground. Let us say this is happening for 3 hours. So multiplied by 3 hours. Okay, R will get cancelled. 3 into 3 is 9 centimeter. That means 9 centimeter of water will go into the ground in the 3 hours. 9 centimeter of water will take place in the form of runoff. 9 centimeter runoff will take place in 3 hours. Okay, so I hope with the help of this formula you can evaluate runoff. Now, the second case is let us say intensity of rainfall is less. Let us say intensity of rainfall is less than infiltration capacity. So what will happen in that case? In that case, you need to, let us take an example. Water can absorb, let us say 5 centimeter of water per hour, but rainfall is happening only 3. Only 3 rainfall is happening. So tell me what will happen. Now all the water will go into the ground. Why? You need to understand. In this case, actual rate of infiltration will be equal to rainfall itself, because rainfall is less than the maximum rate of infiltration. Rainfall is less, so all the water will go inside. Yes or no? So in this case, all the water will go inside. Yes or no? So actual rate of infiltration will be equal to I itself, 3. Oh, it cannot take 5 water, because 5 centimeter of water we are not providing. We are not giving it. Yes or no? Tell me what will be the runoff in this case? Tell me what will be the runoff in this case? Can you tell me? If 5 centimeter water can be absorbed by my soil and we are only applying 3, we are in the form of rainfall, only 3 is there, then no runoff will be there. Okay, runoff will be 0. So, sir, simply we need to understand rainfall characteristics is playing an important role in the runoff part. If less rainfall, no runoff. More rainfall, more runoff. Yes or no? I already told you. So, the equation which I have already told you is justified now. P minus IF. See, remember this P minus IF thing. This is important. This will play a very, very important role from tomorrow. From tomorrow, we will have a very important class, because from that class you will see direct questions will be asked in your examination. Okay, this is very, very important, so you have to remember it. We have discussed all the characteristics or factors which are affecting your infiltration. I hope this is very, very clear to you. Tomorrow we'll discuss the measurement part, how to measure infiltration. Okay, so I hope this thing is clear to you. So low viscosity water will be giving you more infiltration. Okay, I hope this is clear now. Okay, so we will catch up tomorrow, and tomorrow we'll discuss the remaining topics of your infiltration. Okay, and then this abstraction of from precipitation chapter will be over. After this we'll go on to runoff thing, then your hydrographs. Okay, like that we'll discuss one by one. Okay, so I hope you have enjoyed the class. Sir, after hydrology please start geotech, transport, and okay, don't worry. Yes, Sushil, don't worry. Any of us from our team, you know, we have entire civil team, so from that team, obviously I will not teach subjects continuously. Some of other faculty will teach you, but obviously I will try to make sure that major subject is there after this hydrology thing. Okay, so great. So thank you everyone, stay blessed. We'll catch up tomorrow, and meanwhile keep practicing your previous year questions simultaneously and keep revising these notes. Okay, I hope you are able to find these notes in PW app. Okay, so download the PW app. From there you have to from there you will go to the gate category, and from there you can find these notes itself. Okay, so stay blessed, take care. Thank you everyone.